Okay, so we continue with chapter 3 of the Gita, isn't it? And we are doing, I think on the course here, we're on page 477, if I remember correctly. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right. So here the teacher is establishing what I am not. Yeah, remember that the approach of Vedanta is not to tell you who you are, and so you can remember it. See, this is the thing. It doesn't tell you who you are, so you can remember it, or you can practice it, or you can reach it. What Vedanta tells you is showing you, helping you see through shabda, through words, vak, through words, what you're not. So that as you see what you're not, in other words, you dismiss the notion of what you think you are, then it gradually, in a very beautiful way, it allows you to see for yourself who you are, and not as an object, but as a direct knowledge. What is apaloksha?
Direct and
indirect. Paloksha. Paloksha is indirect.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea here is to by yourself that vision, that knowledge of who you are becomes direct to you. There is a word that says immediate. I use it like this. I don't know if grammatically or English-wise it's correct. There is immediate knowledge and there is mediate knowledge, I say. Mediate knowledge, I would say, is through some means. It's like you discover something through some means. Like I can see forms by the means of the eyes. I can hear sounds. No, the knowledge of sounds is through the means of the ears. It's called jnana indriyas. Okay, by the means of touch, I can then see what is what. Hard and soft and all that, smooth. So this is mediate. In other words, I use some medium, like that. Now here, when he's talking about direct knowledge, is immediate, meaning in which no medium is there. The senses and the mind are inadequate and inappropriate to gain self-knowledge. You don't need the senses and the mind. The senses and the mind are a medium to see, to get knowledge that is other than yourself. Is that correct? Whatever you come to know through the mind or through the senses is always something other than yourself. Am I right in that or not? Okay. So you see something,
Okay.
or you hear something, or you use your logic and all that, and you come to some knowledge, you got some assumption. Okay, like that. What you discover is always other than yourself.
From media.
It's always something that, for example, let's suppose you teach me cooking, and now I know how to make chapatis. Okay? So I discovered by means of listening to you, watching you do it, and so on, hearing you and all that, and then I gain knowledge of chapati. Does that make me chapati?
No.
No. I have knowledge of chapati. But I'm not chapati, isn't it?
Right.
So any knowledge that I gather through the indriyas, because in this could be the senses of the mind, is not me. So if I tell you, you are the whole, then you make a note of it, hey, I am the whole. So that's knowledge of the whole, but not knowledge of myself. Why? Because it becomes just another piece of information. You heard it? So the Vedanta is not is a means for self-knowledge. But dismissing what you're not, that knowledge you get, the mind gets that knowledge. Dismissing what you're not. He says, look, the subject is never the object. Remember that? So then you take yourself to be the body. Now, is the body an object to you? Are you aware of your body? Then you say yes. Okay, now you say, I am tall. Is that true that you are the tall? Now, so based upon that, then you dismiss the thing that you take yourself to be the body. Now, you can identify with the body, yes. But that's an identification that might not be hurtful. But then let's suppose that you hate being tall. See the idea? Then you hate yourself. Let's suppose you're beautiful, shape-wise. Then you become proud. Is that right? So the identity with the body is not very good in that case. Why? Because then you suffer whatever the body suffers. In this case, I used to be young and beautiful. Now I became old and decrepit. So identifying with the body is a problem. Why? Because the consequences are very deep. So the body is an object to me. So who is the knower of the body? Who is that which is conscious of the body? The body cannot be. So the teaching, you see, puts a question mark to you, and then allows you to see that one thing is for sure, that the body you cannot be. Now, if you can follow the words of the Shastra, of the teaching, then you come to a discovery which is immediate. But then you have to follow it. Because then the senses, you judge yourself by the senses, and you know the senses is not you. You judge yourself by the quality of the mind, because you say, I'm bad, I'm good, I'm foolish, I'm this and that, you call yourself that. And even that, the teacher says, hey, check it out. Isn't it true that the subject is not the object? Yes. So how can you say you're bad? How can you say, I am wonderful? In terms of, how do you feel? I feel wonderful, I am wonderful. And those are objects to you. So the teaching is not telling you who you are necessarily, is peeling the onion, if you know what I mean. So that you can discover by yourself something that is a fact about you. And then one thing you discover at the beginning is what you're not. That's what the teaching. That's why the person that teaches is, if he's teaching, it's called guru. You remember what the word guru represents? It means, guru means what?
Ignorance.
Ignorance, yes, that's right. Darkness. And then ru means he who gets rid of the ignorance. Now, not by telling you who you are, because then there will be another conditioning. And then you go about, hey, the teacher said I am wonderful, I am fullness. Like that. And now how come you're jealous of your neighbor because he bought a new car? It's your fullness. You're still aching to what? To find fullness. By means of this or that or that. You see the idea? So that'd be another conditioning. But then, if the teacher says, helps you see that, look, everything that is lacking something is known to you in terms about the personality structure. So you're not lacking one. The body is lacking, the mind is lacking, the intellect is lacking, your memory is lacking. Fine, no problem. And you identify with it, then you become lucky. But then he says, look, you're conscious of that. Who's that? Who knows that? And that one who knows that is not lacking. Look, you come to experience that.
Yeah.
So the words only serve as a mirror to unfold what you are not, so that you can actually, by that, you can come see what you are, and you have to see it yourself. Because if you don't see it yourself, even though the teacher tells you that, it doesn't help. So anyway, so the teacher here is establishing what you're not. And he says in the previous in the previous paragraph, before we get into the next one, this says, I, the Atma, okay, Atma means the self, I, is not the Karana, which means is not the sense organs of the mind or the Karya, the physical body. While the mind and senses perform their actions, they are only karanas, instruments, tools. Atma, myself, who I am, the nature of myself, is not an instrument. It is a self, the content of the subject, of the doer. Therefore, a distinction is to be made between the essence of the subject and the instrument. That distinction must be made. As somebody, the Shimayana would say, you can, you must. Because what happens if that distinction is not made? What happens if the distinction is not made?
Then you might confuse yourself to be.
And then
you just identify all the time with the body.
And then
You suffer.
Then
Suffer.
Samsara.
that's why you suffer.
Yeah.
You see, look at this. We all want to continue living. This is just, if I was to have come in today, instead of coming with a camera and a book, I would have come out with a how do you call this, Uzi.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hey, it's an Uzi, my God. Okay, so an Uzi is an Uzi. Uzi, you know Uzi what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Uzi?
Yeah.
It's a machine.